So, do not be intimidated by a turkey. It's basically a giant chicken. Make sure you've got a sharp knife and you've got a board that isn't moving around too much. A nice wet cloth underneath will help that. What I'm going to do for today's recipe is I'm going to cook the legs and thighs. I'm going to use the carcass to make a stock, which is going to go in the recipe as well. And the breasts, I'm going to show you 2 other recipes using each breast per recipe. I mean, look at the size of them. You can basically feed like 4 people with one of these guys. It's not just like a normal chicken breast. Yeah, basically. So we're going to start taking off the legs and thighs. Now, butchering a chicken like this, I'm going to be doing it in quite a rustic way, shall we say. If there's any butchers watching, I apologise. Make sure you've got a sharp knife. And basically, it all starts here. Things start here with the legs, and to make this super simple, basically stretch the leg out like that. Where this line is along here, we are just going to go in with a little cut like that. Try not to get any of the flesh, and basically using your thumb, you're just going to break this open using your finger and just making small cuts wherever you need to, but little as possible. Then basically use your thumb to use this as a pivot. We're basically just going to pop the thigh bone through here. And then really you can see where the thigh is here, this triangle. We're just going to run the blade along the carcass like that. Try not to hit into the ribs and stuff as much as possible. Just going to go like this. By the way, this is oh, hello. By the way, this is exactly how I carve my turkey on Christmas. There you go. That is a whole turkey leg. Look how beautiful and dark that meat is. That is going to be full of flavour. Yeah. So for now, I'm just going to put that to one side and do the other one. So both legs are off. I'm going to separate the drumstick and the thigh in just a second. But quickly now, for the next recipes, and to set you up to have the carcass to make a stock, I'm going to show you how to take the breasts off the main body of the turkey. So down the turkey, there is this breastbone here. It's a brilliant guide for basically working out where the 2 breasts are joined in the middle. It's as easy as knife along this side of the breastbone to take this one off, knife along this side to take that one off. So basically, yeah, find where the line is, and then make a cut, and all the while you're going down this, you're pushing your knife. It's good to use a bendy knife if you can. You're basically pushing your knife against the breastbone in here. So you'll go all the way along like that, and just do little cuts. And then here you'll see there's a secondary bone on the top of the rib cage, and just push your knife along it, making really small cuts all the way along, and cut through, and there is your massive turkey breast. That's one. I'm going to do the other one. So if you're at all worried about doing this, just use your hands. Your hands are the best kitchen equipment, kitchen tool, kitchen gadget, whatever you want to call it. They're the best ones you have, so use them. Feel all the elements of the turkey, and then basically you can plan where you're going to cut. So here, for example, I'm going to push the wing, and I can feel in here the wing is separate from the carcass. So I'm just going to get the knife and go through like that. This can go straight in the stock pot. And then this carcass here, I'm going to try and basically cut it down a little bit, but this is basically going to stay the exact same size. Trim this off a little bit, this little nubbins. Then my carcass is basically going to move over to my pot. That's going to go in there. I'm going to fill this up with cold water, about 3 litres for this turkey carcass. Bring it to the boil, skim off any of the impurities that float to the surface, and put that down on a bare simmer. Nothing else in there, just the carcass for a real clean, pure broth. Leave it simmering for 3 or 4 hours on, yeah, literally as you would cook rice, on the smallest heat possible. Really good glug of olive oil. Take both of the legs. Again, using your hands, you can follow the thigh bone. You can follow the thigh bone and you can see where the thigh bone and feel, sorry, you can see and feel where the thigh bone meets the leg. And you can just cut through, basically, so you have your nice leg and your nice turkey thigh. So I'm just going to generously season the thighs on this side and the legs. There's quite a lot of meat here, and obviously a very similar surface area, so go a little bit heavier on the seasoning than you would for a chicken, and then once your pan is nice and hot, move it over and start cooking skin side down. Breasts are going away for another day, and I'm going to get the ingredients that are going to go with these turkey legs. Turkey legs are cooking up. I'm going to take you through the ingredients that are going to go in the base of this dish, which is basically like a braised turkey leg with sage, beans. We're going to make a little marjoram dressing afterwards. It basically starts with a classic Italian sofrito. Standard onion, brown onion, and really simply you're just going to finely chop it. Then I'm just going to run through the celery, cutting it to a similar size. So just check your legs every now and then. You want a nice colour on it. Something along the lines of that. And then when you've got that colour, turn it over. When you're braising stuff, you want slightly more colour at this stage than you normally would, because as soon as you add the liquid, lots of that colour is going to be taken off the pan, but it's also going to be taken off whatever meat you're cooking, in this case the turkey. So I'm just going to finish up running through this celery. The next big player in this recipe is sage, and all I'm going to do is get a whole bunch of sage and just pick off the leaves. As soon as your turkey legs look like they've got enough colour all over, which I'm happy that these have. Now, to hand for the next stage, you've got onion, 1 onion, 2 celery sticks, a bunch of sage, a good glug of vermouth, about 200 mils. And that's going to flavour the very base of the braise that we're doing, alongside the turkey stock that I talked you through earlier. And actually we're ready to go in with that now. So get a plate. I'm going to just pull these to one side for a second.
Hugo, do you want a smaller plate?
I don't think I could find a smaller one, mate, anyway. So, pan is very hot, so be careful. We're going to go in and deglaze with 200 mils of vermouth. Move that around. All that steam is the water and alcohol cooking off. And if you look in there now, Zach, we have got the most amazing sauce. We're going to let that heat up and cook away for a second. Then we're going to go in with our sage. We're going to go in with our sofrito. We're going to get, not from there, from here. Just going to stir that in. That vermouth is going to cook away in a second. And after all this sage has taken on a couple of those vermouth flavours, it's going to evaporate. All that turkey fat that we were just cooking in is going to be the main prominent force then, and all this sage is going to start to get really crispy and really fragrant. So I'm just going to cook this for about 5 minutes until it starts to get a little bit of colour and starts to go soft. Not too much colour though. We want this quite a pale dish. And once this is cooked down, I'll show you what to do next. That looks beautiful. The braise, this sofrito frying, has turned from a steamy kind of bubbly sound to a kind of crackly sound. And as you can see here, that's the last of that vermouth going. And the sofrito is turning from almost steaming in that vermouth to frying back in that oil that we initially added. And that's awesome because all the vermouth has gone into the sofrito. So we're cooking this. You can also see the sage is starting to go really nice and crispy. It's going to extract all of the oil from that herb, which is only going to flavour this even more. And now we're going to add our next ingredient, white beans. You can use whatever white bean you've got. I believe these are haricot, but you can use butter beans. You can use chickpeas. You could use cannellini beans. You could use pinto beans. You could use borlotti beans. I know they're not a white bean, but you could use those if you wanted. And these jarred ones are amazing because essentially they're cooked in stock. They're the perfect consistency and they're ready to go directly into whatever you're cooking. Oh God, the spoon doesn't fit. I'm going to stir these in. So I got colour on the sofrito, I got colour on the turkey legs, but I don't want these beans to colour anymore. I want this dish, this whole dish, to cook very gently now for the rest of the cook. So what I need to add to this now is the turkey stock that we made from the carcass. Turkey stock I made earlier. Essentially what you want is basically to have that consistency that I described earlier with the turkey legs sitting half submerged in the bean and stock mixture. So we want about 600 to 700 mils of turkey stock, but essentially just enough to cover these beans. Oh, even the stock smells so good. It's like a turkey stew, turkey soup kind of smell. So I'm happy with about that much. Stir it. And you can see all the amazing oils in here that have come out of the turkey carcass in the stock, out of the turkey legs while we've been frying them, and out of those beautiful sage leaves. And all of that is going to add the most amazing flavour while this is in the oven. So, next up, turkey legs are going back in. Remember what I said, kind of crocodile's heads at the top of water. So most, or at least half, of these thighs and legs are submerged in a liquid and just the top part is poking out. So first up, my oven is at 160. We're going to cook this for 2 hours. The first hour, I'm going to have it covered with a cartouche, which is basically just a paper lid, and I'm going to show you how to make that now. And what that's going to do is it's going to steam the thighs and legs so that they're beautifully tender, almost pullable at the end. And after the first hour, we're going to take the cartouche off, and that's going to allow this beautiful crispy skin to come back to life. So for a cartouche, all you need is parchment paper, cut off a nice, relatively even square. Don't need this. And then fold it out into your square, fold it in half, simple as, fold it in half again, and then moving in a clockwise motion, fold that way, fold into the center again, fold into the center again, and then you have this little nifty, almost paper aeroplane, then you have this nifty, almost like paper aeroplane scenario. Take this over to your pot. So I'm marking it here on the side. I know I'm going to cut here, back over to the board. And here we have a circular paper lid. I'm just going to run that under the tap. That's going to help retain the moisture of everything that's cooking in that pot. Scrunch it up, kind of like this, just under the tap, getting a bit of moisture in there. Open it up again. You can bop a little hole in there just to allow a little bit of steam to escape. Push it in nicely against the sides, kind of making sure that it's touching the surface. Once this has come up to the boil again, cook it in your oven at 160 degrees Celsius, that's fan, which is 300 Fahrenheit, I think. I could be wrong. Gas mark 4, if anyone is still cooking with gas ovens. And cook that for an hour with this on, halfway through, give the pan a little jiggle, take the lid off and cook it for 1 more hour. Look at that. You basically, this way of cooking, doing the braise, taking that cartouche off after an hour allows you to get 2 things. It allows you to get this incredibly crispy turkey skin, and it also allows you to get this, the most unctuous, deliciously thick and intense beans. So what I'm going to do is leave this here for a second, let the beans sit for a while. They'll be the perfect consistency for serving, and I'm going to show you a really easy salad that's great to make in the springtime with a recipe like this. All I need is a Castel Franco. So our braised turkey is just hanging out there for a second. That's going to let the beans thicken up, let the meat relax, and just make it the perfect temperature for serving. What I'm going to serve this with is one of these beautiful Castel Franco radicchios. They come into season late winter all the way up until mid-spring. They're a sign of good things to come, weather warming up, days getting longer, and that little gap between winter and spring. I'm going to dress it really simply with salt and lemon juice, and that's going to help brighten up this, which is basically quite a rich, rich dish. I'm going to do this in a really easy way, and basically what I'm going to do is present it on the table, still retaining its original shape. And how I'm going to do that is take this radicchio, and you can see the stalk in there. All I'm going to do is cut around this. So all I'm going to do is kind of using my hand to keep this as one piece. I'm just going to cut in here, following this circle as a guide. And I'm just going to pull out this very inner core. Great for snacking, but but it's going to stop us from serving this in the way that I want. Basically, we now have this here, and I can just place it on here and let it drop open. And we'll just knock this ever so slightly, help it out a little bit. You might need to do a little bit of ripping and opening on here. I'm going to add a pinch of salt in there. I'm going to add, well, actually I said 2 things, I mean 3 things. I'm going to add a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to add a squeeze of lemon juice. Always roll your lemons. And just squeeze that juice into the radicchio. And there you've got something pretty special. Castelfranco dressed with extra virgin olive oil and lemon, and braised turkey legs with white beans and sage. All I'm going to do is finish these legs with another little drizzle of olive oil, and I'm ready to serve. And that's it. Turkey legs, braised with white beans and sage, lemon dressed Castelfranco. Hopefully a dish that proves to you turkey is not just for Christmas. In 2 hours, you can have braised turkey legs with white beans and sage, lemon dressed Castelfranco, and hopefully that is a dish that proves to you turkey is not just for Christmas. So go out, visit Nick and Jacob at Fosse Meadows, check out their website, buy a turkey, and treat your friends.